Bum ba dum. Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. Yeah, that wasn't my normal G-lick, and that's not my normal customary sign-on greeting there. But that's because we're studying harmony today, and not just harmony, we're studying banjo harmony. Do you know that's a thing? It's really fun. Maybe you've never heard banjo harmony. I actually just taught a lesson on an old hymn, Higher Ground, and I included a banjo harmony solo in there with the others. Check it out. What do you think? Should that be illegal? Some people might say so. I think it's really cool. And there's a strategy to playing banjo harmony. It's more than just playing different notes than the banjo picker beside you. So I want to look at different ways to play harmony because there's several different approaches we can take. Then I want to look at some of our common licks that we're used to playing on the banjo, and we'll learn how to play the harmonies to them so that maybe you can create your own arrangements. I'll also have the tab for that Higher Ground solo and lots of other tabs too. If you're watching somewhere else besides BanjoBenClark.com, come on over to the website. There's 750 plus lessons there for banjo, guitar, mandolin. I would love to make some harmony with you over there. Love you, and let's get started with this lesson. In this first video segment, I want to talk to you about what the actual harmony is on banjo, just so we can understand it without getting into any frets or chords or anything like that. In the next video, we'll take a very simple melody and look at a couple different ways to approach that. We're going to be singing harmony with that melody, except on the banjo. So we're going to create a tenor part, then we'll come underneath it and create a baritone part. And then in the final video segment, I want to take some very common bluegrass scrugsy licks, and I want to work out the harmonies for those because it's pretty doggone cool to play those together with another banjo picker. Now, when we think about just how to approach banjo harmony, there's several different ways. I'm sure there are many more ways than what we're going to even talk about today, but I want to look at some of those. The first thing we're going to do, if we go over to the iPad, is we're going to start with just a very basic forward roll, starting on the third string there, to provide our palette for the harmony that we're going to create. And this first type of harmony approach, I'm going to call the forward roll offset. And one of the ways that we can create harmony on banjo is to do the same roll as what the lead banjo is doing, except just start the roll on a different note so that you're always playing a different roll or a different note of the same roll. So you see here in the top line of the tab, this forward roll starts with the third string, goes up to the first, and then to the fifth string. Whereas the harmony part, which is down below it, is going to start one note offset. It's actually going to start on this first string so that this bottom harmony part is always one string ahead of the top part in the roll. So what does that sound like? Well, let's take a listen. What'd you think about that? That's a lot of banjo going on, isn't it? And when you're playing it slow like that, sometimes it's easy to lose context. But when it's going faster, it sounds pretty doggone cool. But that's just one way that we can approach playing harmony notes with these rolls. Let's look at another way. If we look at what I would call just actual forward roll harmony, and that's where I'm not so much worried about playing the same roll as much as I'm worried about every single note having a harmony note there. We don't have to play the same type of roll. It's just I'm wanting to, for the most part, avoid playing the same string and the same note as the lead banjo, although you could do that, and that's just fine too. Let's see what's going on here. I'm still going to keep the regular forward roll going in the top, just like we have before. But this time you'll notice that the bottom harmony part looks a little different. It's still a forward roll, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I just want to take a side note to say, and we'll see this here in a bit, but when you start combining different kinds of rolls, say the lead banjo player's doing a forward roll, and then you start doing some other type of roll, it's going to lose some of its synchronistic uh, properties there. It's going to sound a bit more jumbled. So in general, whenever I'm playing harmony banjo, I like to try to keep forward rolls with forward rolls and square rolls with square rolls. But we're going to take a look and see what it sounds like when you don't do that. Okay, but this time, yes, I do have a forward roll, but it's a different forward roll, isn't it? This forward roll in the lead has the fifth string, third string, and first string, whereas this forward roll down here for the harmony is going to change one of the notes. It's going to have a low fourth string instead. But when we line up the notes, they're still harmony, aren't they? So we've got this third string and a fourth string being played at the same time. We have those notes lined up. We have these notes lined up. What does this one sound like? Okay, for context, I want to play both of those back to back. So let's play the forward roll offset, and then immediately we're going to go right into the forward roll harmony, just to see what we can hear in the comparison. So I'm curious, which approach do you like best? Which one? Well, I tend to do both. And whenever we're playing banjo harmony, we're going to do both. We're going to dip from both of these approaches. And again, there's even more approaches out there that I want to take a look at. Let's look at another approach using another roll. I guess same approach, different roll. This time we're going to deal with a square roll, which is a 4-note roll versus a 3-note roll. Some people call them alternating thumb rolls. I typically will call them square rolls. And they're unique in that the thumb is playing 2 of the notes in the 4-note pattern. Okay, so one way that we can approach this is just like we did with the forward rolls, where we offset one of the notes. Do you recognize where the square roll is in the harmony pattern down here? Where is it? I see that same square roll right here. It's the same roll as this. But check it out. It's at a different part of the measure, isn't it? So again, the offset version is just going to start one note ahead of what the melody is doing. Let's take a look to hear, or take a listen to hear what this sounds like. That's a lot of banjo notes, isn't it? It reminds me of Eastbound and Down, you know, that great old Jerry Reed song with the harmony banjo in it. If you go back and listen to that song, they're doing coordinated rolls there. They might be offset a little bit, but I think it's mainly forward rolls they're doing, and the banjos are galloping together. But let's take a look and see what happens when you don't. So this time, I want to combine a square roll with a forward roll. I just want to see what happens here. And a couple things for us to notice. One is when we look and we compare note for note about what's going on here, we notice that there are going to be some unison notes played just because of the nature of the rolls. Where are they at? Well, this G note right here is going to get matched up with this G note. Where else? We're going to have any more? I don't think we do. But one of them does, right? So that means for one of the notes out of 16 notes in this example, we're going to play a note in unison. Is that a problem? For me, it's not really a problem. But if I'm wanting to hear a lot of harmony, I want to be careful with those notes. I don't necessarily want a bunch of unison notes when I'm trying to play harmony because it defeats the purpose. But if we have one every once in a while, that's fine. Sometimes we can't even avoid it whenever we're up the neck and stuff. And we'll talk about that in one of the later video segments. Let's take a listen to the square plus forward roll to see what we hear. See what we hear. What did you think about that one? Let's do this. Let's play back to back the square offset and the square plus the forward. See if we can hear the difference in how they synchronize together. What'd you think? Which one did you like better? you can have your own preference. You don't have to like what I like. We don't have to be in harmony about our opinions on harmony, right? But there's lots of options out there. And now that we understand, without fretting anything, we understand how banjo notes can harmonize, either with offset or creating actual harmony for each individual note. Let's begin presenting a melody and look at a couple ways we can even do that differently by playing or singing a tenor harmony part and a baritone harmony part. Then we'll get into some more licks. If you're watching somewhere else beside banjobenclark.com, today it's bharmony.com, then come on over to the website, banjobenclark.com. Join as a Gold Pick member. You can have this lesson and many, many more. We learn all kinds of great stuff over there. Come join our choir of harmonious noise.